So despite Epstein being dead and buried at this point, the case still rolls on. Items associated with Epstein while he was here in physical matter reality still matter. Or at the very least, there's still vestiges of those things that are kind of running their course. A mind-blowing ruling has taken place. A secret deal that broke the law in regards to Epstein making a deal with the U.S. attorney, in which case he did not notify the clients or notify the people who were accusing Epstein of these crimes. This was ruled to violate the law. Despite the fact that it violated the law, Epstein's accusers will still remain sealed. I would imagine there are a lot of rich plutocrats or a lot of rich pedophiles out there who have breathed a sigh of relief based on this ruling. I want to talk about this ruling for a moment. This video will be relatively quick, but I want to get into what this actually means in real world terms. And I have to be honest, it is astonishing. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you enjoy this content, you find yourself coming back here often, please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, you can always support this content through PayPal or Patreon. They demonetize these videos, and this video will be instantly demonetized since Epstein's name is in it. So, an agreement that was negotiated between U.S. attorneys in Miami and Epstein's attorneys in secret. And again, that violated the law because they didn't notify the victims that this was taking place. Epstein gets a year, and most of the time he's kind of out of prison where he can essentially work out of prison, almost like work release. Yes, he has to register as a pedophile, but ultimately what does this mean in real world terms? And there's apparently information saying that Epstein was still engaging in abusive behavior while he was on work release. This doesn't look all that good. Add to the fact that Epstein is called an international pedophile, has a pedophile Allen. Think about that for the moment. Think about how that falls out of your mouth, how it feels in your mouth as you even say the words. Pedophile Allen, an Allen in which a pedophile can roam freely without anybody looking over his shoulder about what he's doing. And is it possible that he had friends on this Allen that said, wow, that's a hot piece of, that's giving you that massage. Oh, you would like to take a piece of that? I mean, after all, we knew Charlie Rose was working with Epstein, and the person who was being abused by Charlie Rose was essentially given to Charlie Rose by Epstein. Are there others? I would imagine that the answer would probably be yes, because there are multiple people that were accused that for the most part gets sealed under this agreement that Epstein worked out in secret. The judge in this case, I just read it. The secret non-prosecution agreement that shielded alleged accomplices of the dead pedophile Jeffrey Epstein will remain intact, a Florida judge ruled Monday. Again, remaining intact despite it being illegal. U.S. District Court Kenneth Mara also said that Epstein's victims were not owed any money following the government's violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act. Various accusers filed suit in 2008 after learning that the feds cut a sweetheart plea deal with Epstein but failed to notify the victims after the fact. While Mara previously ruled that the admission violated the law, he said that his Monday order that any further litigation was moot, given that Epstein committed suicide. The judge instructed the government to do three things: designate a representative to meet with the plaintiffs to discuss his decision, participate in public court proceedings for accusers to speak publicly about their abuse, and ensure future federal prosecutions in Florida undergo additional training in the Crime Victims' Rights Act. None of that means a hill of beans. Understand what the judge is saying. Yes, those sweetheart deal that was cut did violate the law. That's true. However, we're going to keep this deal intact, and we're going to keep the accomplices and people who might have been working with Epstein under wraps. Now, even if you don't tell me who these people are, should you really keep it under wraps? Even if Epstein is dead as a doorknob, should you keep it under wraps? What you are telling me is that there are rich, powerful people who are potentially pedophiles who are working and in coordination with Epstein in this, or using the services of Epstein, or at the very least, abusing people with Epstein. And the judges essentially said, yes, there are plenty of accomplices here, but we're going to keep this deal intact and we're just going to let it ride. Those rich pedophiles out there that was working in coordination with Epstein, again, can breathe a sigh of relief because of Judge Mara. Think about what this means. This means, and again, even if you don't tell me, meaning even if you don't come out to public and say, look, these are the people who are accomplices in this pedophile ring, because after all, it was being called the pedophile ring. These are the accomplices in the pedophile ring. Even if you don't come out and tell me names, at the very least, you should be going through and check each of the stories of these women. There has to be some level of cooperation, right? I mean, ultimately, what you're saying is that there are a lot of rich and powerful pedophiles out there that, for the most part, will go unchecked and will be perfectly free to commit more pedophilia. We're to believe that just because Epstein is dead as a doorknob, that the people who are pedophiles with Epstein stop being pedophiles. I don't buy that at all. And for all intents and purposes, that is literally what this ruling does. Just put it under the covers, sweep it away, nothing to see here, folks. Epstein hung himself with something in a room where he was supposed to be looked after every, hour or every 30 minutes? That wasn't done. The officers apparently fell asleep. The camera that was supposed to be monitoring that particular area was just so happened off. And the psychologist that was supposed to release him never did that. From one item after the next, this case looks extremely weird. And now we have this last final act where the judge essentially says, nothing to see here, folks. Folds out the linen, smooths out the edges, and let's just move on to the next case. Those pedophiles are perfectly safe. This ruling is astonishing. And essentially, in a case that is, for the most part, has been astonishing in and of itself, it ends with the finale of protecting the pedophiles that were working with Epstein. That's amazing. I'll put the articles at the bottom. I don't think I'm misreading it. I mean, she is literally saying the agreement that these guys signed, the illegal agreement that Jeffrey Epstein worked out with the Miami attorneys in secret. Even though it was illegal, we still keep it in place, and we will hide and maintain a non-disclosure of the Epstein accomplices that have been called a part and party to a pedophile ring. Wow. I'll leave it on that. That's gross in and of itself. And I have to be honest, I don't think it matters if those people get in court, if there's no real justice for those particular individuals in this process, even if they can't necessarily get money from the standpoint of Epstein. I would wager that if they were indeed abused, and if they were indeed accomplices, and if they indeed can point to those accomplices and can show some level of evidence to get across their stories, they should be allowed to do that, seeing as A, those people are pedophiles, and B, the legal fig leaf that you have in order to come to a ruling like that would be the fact that this ruling was illegal. Meaning the ruling, what Epstein engaged in with this particular lawyer was illegal. You ruled it illegal yourself. You're the one that said it was illegal. So what do you want? You want pedophiles to be able to walk the earth in order to, engage in other abusive behavior? Or do you want to do something about it? Doing something about it, at the very least, is allowing these people to air out what they need to air out for them to track down those leads. It's very possible that they may be wrong. They may be off. Some of them may not be telling the truth, but you would never know that unless you do some level of investigation into their stories. And icing it in this way, does not do that in the least. And it literally allows accomplices of Epstein continue to walk the earth unknown, free to assault another victim. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'll end it here. This one wasn't meant to be long. It was just kind of a, oh my God, I can't believe the judge just did that. But indeed, like everything else with this case, utterly and entirely bizarre, and breeds alternative theories of the case. Like, share, subscribe.